13.4 Absolute value functions. In section 11.1, we define functions as a process. One of those processes was the square root function. We discussed f of x equals the square root of x and square root x as two ways of representing the function. Both mean to turn the input number into its principal square root. The absolute value symbol, with those double bars, is a process that turns the input into its distance from 0 on a number line. Like the square root symbol, the absolute value symbol is not on a computer keyboard. Software developers write ABS parentheses when they want a computer to perform the absolute value process, and you might find that useful when you're working. F of x equals the absolute value of x. When we have an equation like this, its domain is all real numbers, and the output is the distance that the input is away from 0 on the number line. Distance is about how far, regardless of direction, so it's always positive or 0. So I'm going to do a few examples, and I'll leave one for you. If f of x is the absolute value of x, then f of negative 2 is the absolute value of negative 2. And how far is negative 2 away from 0? It is 2 away from 0. F of 0 is the absolute value of 0. How far is 0 away from 0? Not very far at all. It's 0. Same for f of 2. How far is 2 away from 0? It is 2 away from 0. You're going to try the next one. Practice your notation. When you're evaluating an expression with an absolute value symbol, you'll be performing the order of operations, and you more or less treat the absolute value symbol like a parenthesis. So for instance, A, I'm going to first, I'll write the question down, and then, see, I'm already treating it like a parenthesis by making it look like one. There we go. So we will perform the operations inside first. 4 minus 7 is negative 3. And then we will figure out what is the absolute value of negative 3. 3 away from 0. And the final answer is negative 3. If I had instead the absolute value of negative 4 minus 7, do what's inside there first. That's negative 11. The absolute value of negative 11 is 11. Here, you try the one to the side there. Example 3. We're going to allow g of x to equal 2 minus the absolute value of 3x plus 1. What would g of negative 2 be? G of negative 2, and we're going to put 2 in where we see an x. Oh, a negative 2. And we will continue to simplify. We're going to multiply first. Then we will have negative 6 plus 1, which is negative 5. How far is negative 5 away from 0? It is 5 away from 0. And now we end up with negative 3. Remembering to answer the question, g of negative 2 equals negative 3. All right, let's try this again. G of 0 equals 2 minus the absolute value of 3 times 0 plus 1. Cat wants on my lap. Hello, Sasha. All right. Don't know if you all get to hear my cat purr while I'm teaching, but if you do, that's nice. So now we've got 0 plus 1. Absolute value of 1. How far is 1 away from 0? It is 1 away from 0. So now we end up with 2 minus 1, which is 1. G of 0 is 1. Okay, you're going to try that one on the end. G of GEO2. And we'll pick up with graphs of absolute values next.